Rosie is asking, she's on two sprays of Lenzetto and one Utrogestan capsule daily. She's still experiencing symptoms which are quite debilitating, though, particularly insomnia, anxiety, tinnitus, palpitations, and just sort of very tearful. She spoke to her GP, who didn't recommend increasing the Lenzetto, but instead requested a blood test. He also asked if she was depressed. She's never had depression before and wondering how to proceed. She's 55.
Yeah. So the first thing to say is that Lenzetto, when it first came on the market, was believed to be stronger than it actually is. And that's important because although the maximum license dose is 3, it's you're still on quite, I wouldn't say low, but it's not particularly high dose at 2 sprays. And the symptoms that you describe could very easily be low estrogen still, and the maximum license dose is 3. So I would think about having another conversation with your prescriber to see if you can go up to the 3 sprays and see how you feel. Um, that would be my first. I'm assuming the blood test is fine, but from the depression point of view, I would say that if it's not something that's really troubled you before and you're experiencing those other symptoms, I would say it'd be the whole anxiety and insomnia. It's all linked to the menopause, certainly. And the third thing I'd say is try the increased spray of Lenzetto, but with your prescriber's permission, and see how you feel, because I see a lot of people with histamine, and they're also symptoms of histamine issues as well. So if you find they get worse with the high dose of Lenzetto, which I actually don't think they will for you, then that would be something to look at.
Thank you very much. I'm also going to post um, a link to our histamine intolerance course, which is up there as well. Thanks, Corinne. Might just be worth mentioning about histamine intolerance and why we tend to think that we're seeing more of this in in the perimenopause and menopause, because I know it's an area you're really interested in.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's really how we met, isn't it?
Mm.
It's it's not necessarily something that's recognized as a condition or as a diagnosis. It, it's becoming more widespread, I think. But in the perimenopause, particularly, what you're getting is fluctuating hormone levels, and particularly the estrogen can go really high, can go low, and it can fluctuate, and it can do it randomly. And we know that estrogen pushes up histamine levels by making the mast cells release more histamine, down regulating the enzymes that break down histamine, affecting gut health. It can, when you're feeling awful, your cortisol can go up, so stress hormones can go up, which pushes up histamine as well. So there's a whole set of things that can happen. And also your natural progesterone drops off quite early on, and that seems to be quite calming for mast cells. It seems to help with the breakdown of histamine. And so you have this almost like this imbalance where you're getting more estrogen, so more higher histamine levels, and lower progesterone, so that's pushing up your histamine levels as well, and
Mhm.
that can cause symptoms. And that's what histamine intolerance is. It's like an imbalance of how much histamine you're producing or you're taking in or being exposed to, an imbalance with how much you're able to break down. And as the levels go up, you can get symptoms, and the symptoms are very similar. They're widespread because histamine has a lot of important roles in the body. Um, and the lists are very similar between perimenopause symptoms and histamine intolerance symptoms. So it can be quite tricky to decipher what's causing what.